helping your wife is a choice. It's the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you do that, definitely you are going to gain.
You need to start with being medically fit, especially if you have a health condition.
I lock up myself in the restroom and I gorge myself with a bottle of a drink. Who's gonna know I did that? Nobody. But then I don't do that.
Engage yourself in charity. It cleanses the soul.
What do you think about our naan bread and chicken kebab? Beautiful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Ramadan with Hollandia, a program where we enlighten you on topical daily matters, where we address challenges related to Ramadan, and of course, where we bring you sumptuous but simple recipes that you can try at home in this holy month. I am your host, Asma Gambo. On today's episode of Ramadan with Hollandia, we shall be looking at life after Ramadan. What are some lessons to carry on after the Ramadan month? Kafin mu fara shirin, za mu je takaitaccen hutu. A dakace mu.
Ramadan is a time of sharing light, joy, and nourishment. This Ramadan, let's share more than meals. Let's share moments that bring us together. Hollandia, lighting hearts, homes, and communities.
MashaAllah, and thank you for staying tuned. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be discussing the lessons to carry on after the month of Ramadan. Yes, the month of Ramadan is not beyond 29 or 30 days, and several Muslims have utilized this period to reconnect with their Creator through various rewarding acts of worship. But beyond this month, how do we hold on to some of these acts and lessons learned during Ramadan? Wato kyawawan ayyukan da ake fatan ɗaurewa da su har bayan wucewar wannan wata. I'll be discussing that with my guest today, Malam Faisal Umar. Malam Faisal, welcome to our show.
Tabarakallah, thank you.
Yeah, Azumi.
Alhamdulillah.
Let me dive straight into my question. What is fasting intended to teach us?
It's an ultimate month that seeks to make you who you are, a Muslim. Personally, what I have observed, Islam is capsuled in the holy month of Ramadan. Everything Islam is what you're expected to be in the special month of Ramadan. And anything not Islam is what you're expected to abstain from. Now, the basic school in Ramadan is to tell you that within 29 or 30 days, you're able to control yourself from the things that are even normal and permissible. Then it should even become easier for you to abstain from it after the month of Ramadan for the things that are not permissible. Now,
so what are those acts of worship when it's ayyuka ne suka zama wajib da wajib on a fasting person?
The first obligation for a fasting person is that he, if he is well, or she is well, if the fasting person is well, must fast from the break of dawn until sunset. It's compulsory, one must fast. Only if there are genuine reasons, authentic cases where he or she cannot fast, then they are exempted. In some situations,
what are these
completely.
cases?
Well, the few cases where, let's say the person is old.
Yes.
The person is old. Fasting is no longer obligatory upon the person. And if it's a nursing mother, the fuqaha vary.
Mentally,
she can feed, and then when she's all back to feeding normal, she fasts. And some do an exemption that she just feeds and that's all. While majority of the scholars go with she can do both. And it's safer than to even wake up on the wrong side of everything.
Yes.
So, and the young who has not attained puberty, for both a lady, a girl and a boy, are also exempted from the compulsion of fasting, but they are encouraged to learn the habit of fasting so that by the time the pen is written upon them or they have acquired their pen where their deeds will be documented, good or bad, fasting is not going to be something strange for them.
So
They can actually,
Baba.
exactly, the habit has already been inculcated. Like I was saying, when the mockery of feasting, the idea is not the abstinence from food alone. No, the idea is to bring a one capsule entity of worship for believers to come, because there's something about congregation. I can do something alone. And what's this popular saying? They say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go in a congregation. So when you are together with the congregants, we can walk and gist and probably would walk the entire of Kaduna State and we
without
wouldn't
even
notice it.
noticing, yes.
So you do it together, you don't feel the pain. Like for some of us who can understand, of course, some people inevitably, you know why, would have to miss the fast. But their major number one fear is, oh, I'm going to be fasting alone after Ramadan. And that's going to be harder. Truth be told, yes, it is harder. Because I don't want to miss my fast in Ramadan. Because it's easier, it's more lovely. Because, I mean, I want to fast. It will also take us to the reason of the fear of Allah.
No.
The holy month of Ramadan is where you see a person fasting. I lock up myself in a restroom and I gorge myself with a bottle of a drink. Who's gonna know I did that?
Nobody.
But then I don't do that. You know why? Because this is the sincerity. The idea is I want to fast for God. And that is why God has informed us that every other act of worship is for you. But the act of fasting is for Him. And the reward for it, leave it to Him.
You've talked about many positive attributes, and it's believed that when you do something consistently for about 21 days, you'll be able to form a habit. So is it possible for us to adopt all of these positive habits, all of these positive qualities that you mentioned, even beyond Ramadan?
Yeah, it's positive, even though the whole idea of the 21-90, actually, it's 21 days to form a habit and 90 days, it's more like it's a part of you. Now, it's a myth. A lot of scholars have agreed it's a myth. But yes, the idea and the message here is, are we going to be able to carry some of the things we learned in Ramadan? But some of us, we've experienced many Ramadans. Don't give up. Don't waver. Like, last Ramadan, you expected you're going to continue with your night prayers, the tahajjud. You know, it's so lovely. It's so, it gives you this spiritual boost. You failed. One month after, everything is back to normal. Don't despair. Life is meant to be like that. There's a reason why God made the holy month to be one. And that's the reason why Allah Azza wa Jalla teaches us that whoever witnesses the month of Ramadan, imanan wahtisaban, and then with faith, wahtisaban, seeking the reward of God, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi, he is forgiven whatever sin was before Ramadan. So the Ramadan you hope for the next one and the next one. That Ramadan is meant to give you teachings and discipline you can and you should carry beyond. But there's a reason why I'm intentionally saying this, because in my own way of encouraging people, I have realized that a lot of time people just want to give up from, come on, I tried this and so many times it's not working. You don't give up. So man's essence is to continue striving, because one thing I tell you, Islam has a unique way for reward. Islam is more attentive to the last deed. But let's talk about the facts and the reality. The reality is there is no saint in the universe. Everybody does good and bad. You yourself, you do good and bad to your own self, right? So yes, you develop some of these qualities and you do it quickly. A lady came home and then her husband returned and was whining. You know, it happens for almost every religion that have a weekly sermon. And he's like, I'm not going to go back to the masjid again. She says, why? And then he says, because it's in Egypt, by the way, the story is in Egypt. He says, I mean, the imam had always been on the pulpit preaching, God said this, God said this, and the world is still as corrupt as it is. I'm done. I'm not going back to listen to any more sermon again. He says, oh yeah, I feel you. That makes some sense. He came back the following day, as usual, to the same dining table. Pack, all the bowls are empty. What's happening? Where's my food? He says, no, I realized for 30 years of our marriage, I cook for you every day and you've still not stopped eating. Like, when is your hunger going to stop?
That was very practical. Practical example for him, to pick up and know that yes, what's abin sai an yi haƙuri tukunna kafin a same
That's
shi.
why they say sometimes you women have a better way of teaching men.
Very
So may
true.
God bless you for that.
Masha Allah, those were amazing insights. And I've also learned something. Ka yi 4 da 1, sannan ka ƙara ya zama 6 da 1. To masu sauraron mu, bari mu ɗan je hutun rabin lokaci, sannan mu garzaya mu wuce kitchen corner ɗinmu.
Ramadan is a time of sharing light, joy, and nourishment. This Ramadan, let's share more than meals. Let's share moments that bring us together. Hollandia, lighting hearts, homes, and communities.
How do you think we can sustain the Ramadan tradition of praying on time, recitation of the Quran, and all of those extras that we do even beyond Ramadan?
You can do your best. Do I know how you can sustain that? Yes, because ordinarily, like I said, there are certain things that you should know that they are exclusive for Ramadan. If you try to carry that baggage out of Ramadan, that's where the weight will crush you along the line. But praying on time is part of a Muslim's life. You must be consistent with praying on time. How you do it, for me, I realize that there are times that I have a meeting at around 7:30, for example, and Maghrib is going to happen a little after that, and Isha a little after that. I try to ensure that the meeting venue is going to be around a place where I can pray, just so that I can be able to pray in congregation. Females get a little less of that because the congregation part is not compulsory upon you, but then praying on time is still compulsory, right? Praying on time, because Abdul A'mal as-salatu fi awwali waqtiha, the best of deeds is praying at the first part of the salah. So that's I hope that answers your question.
It does. It actually does. Thank you so much for that. To masu sauraron mu, da fatan za mu ci gaba da aikata kyawawan ayyukan ibada da muke aiwatarwa a Ramadan har bayan wannan wata. But before we end this program, let's take our last segment, Did You Know segment. Did you know that milk and yogurt are great sources of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients? Hollandia dairy products contain the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals you need as an important part of a healthy, balanced diet. Malam Faisal, thank you so much for coming here.
Barakallah, thank you for honoring me.
Amma kafin mu tafi ina da gift for you.
I appreciate Barakallah fikum.
To Malam Faisal, ga wannan kyauta daga kamfanin Hollandia.
Har kin sa Hausa na ya dawo.
Da kaga kyauta. This brings us to the final episode of the program. We wish to express our gratitude to all our viewers for staying with us throughout this Ramadan season. Our appreciation goes to all the guests featured in the episodes of Ramadan with Hollandia, as well as the entire production team. Masu kallon mu na gida, muna fatan kun amfana da dukkan zancen da muka tattauna a wannan shiri tamu, tun daga ranar farko har zuwa yau. Allah ya ba mu ikon ci gaba da aikata kyawawan ayyukan da muka aiwatar a wannan wata. Ni Asma Gambo ke muku fatan yin bikin sallah lafiya. Ma'assalam.